David, it is June 27th. Why are we doing this on June 27th?
The sitting president really wants to reinforce his message to the American people early. We'll see if we get a second debate. There is one on the schedule for September, but you point out, John, rightly, this is earlier than we've had in past cycles. Usually we get through the two political conventions and then we have the debates. That's one thing that's novel. Another is who's running this. You say it's the CNN presidential debate. We have a news network here calling most of the shots. Yes, the candidates have agreed to them, but in the last few cycles we've had this bipartisan presidential debate commission that's structured the debate to its liking, not had commercial breaks. This is something else entirely. So we'll see sort of how this works, this new crucible in which this debate's going to take place.
David, there's a ton of different novel provisions in this debate that we haven't seen. There's no live audience. The mics are muted. How are the camps preparing for all of these, different kind of setting than they're really used to?
Yeah, it's a stark contrast. Of course, you've had President Biden at Camp David for these last few days, going through his policy points, doing mock debates in a movie theater there, really getting ready in a kind of traditional way for this debate. And then you have former President Trump, who has, we gather, just talked to policy experts here and there and has been out on the campaign trail delivering speeches. That's in keeping with what he did the last couple of times he's run for president. He's kind of eschewed traditional debate prep and wanted to see how the audience responds to what he's saying. But that gets us to the point that you raised, Anne Marie, which is there is going to be no audience for this debate. And that's going to be kind of strange as well. We know, certainly with former President Trump, he's somebody who feeds off of fulminating in front of an audience. He wants to hear sort of how the audience responds. Not having that in this hall, effectively just doing this in a TV studio, is going to be radically different from what he's experienced before.
When you are looking at this debate, David, what do you think the one key point each of them needs to drive home?
I think that they have to articulate a vision for the future. So with former President Trump, he's obviously very keen to talk about his past tenure, what's happened since. Grievance politics is something that we've heard a lot of. The same thing is true of President Biden. I mean, he's focused a lot on his accomplishments over the last 4 years, but I think that those who are watching this debate for the first time, however few and far between there are who are undecided about what's going to happen when they go to the polls in November, I think what they want to know is what the vision is for the future for the next 4 years, and it's incumbent on both of these candidates to kind of spell that out in a very clear way that's going to be sort of an effective mechanism to sway those undecided voters.
Do you really believe that, David? I mean, honestly, do you think that that's the case? Because
skepticism from Lisa.
I mean, come on. So many people have come on this show and they've said, it's going to be the tone. Do they sound energetic? Do they sound angry, or is it going to be jolly Trump? I mean, these are the things that people are looking for. Are you saying that actually you're going to be listening for policy?
Look, I will be. And I was cheered to hear Ed Hyman say that, despite the fact that his team doesn't think there'll be a knockout punch, I think there's wide consensus on that. There is interest in sort of what's going to come out of this and what effect that might have. So, yes, I think that there will be discerning viewers and listeners who will be looking for that. We'll see if that breaks through. I think, to your point, Lisa, there is so much focus here on age and style and how they comport themselves and how they interact with each other. The moments when concrete policy breaks through, if it does at all, will be all the more important because I think it's going to stand in such stark contrast to that.